This week in the League of Legends, we've got some interesting stuff coming out for all of our enjoyment. Like we promised, there is a brand new mode revolving around Bilgewater Port. We've got remakes for certain characters. We've got new game modes, new items, new creeps, and currency systems. And we also have a patch. All this and more on the Spaster Gaming Web Show.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is an ongoing show where we talk a little bit about everyone's favorite mobile-style battle game.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We waited a couple of days because, again, we're like, wow, there's nothing going on. So we thought there's going to be a patch. We can talk about that, BS about dumb stuff for about 10 minutes, and call the episode good. Checked, the sites today. We got 5 new skins, 2 character revamps, as well as a new game mode on the PvE.
This is for that Bilgewater event. We sort of teased that last week, but it's coming to theaters near you.
So first things first, the 2 champion updates. Visual update for Miss Fortune. She is exactly the same. They just got new particle effects, movement, and
they
models,
cleaned up her coding a little bit.
as well as for tatas. Her tatas are now in high definition.
Indubitably.
But the one that is a little bit more interesting is Gangplank got a second visual update as well as some kit changes. Notable is his passive and his E. So we'll start with his passive.
So his passive is Trial by Fire instead of Grog Soaked Blades. What it does now is every few seconds, Gangplank's attacks will become empowered with flames. These will deal bonus true damage over time and give Gangplank a burst of movement speed. Now this, like I said, refreshes every few seconds, or it can be instantly refreshed by destroying a powder keg. Now his other abilities are relatively the same. We have the classic parlay, we have the
Eat the oranges.
classic scurvy prevention kit, which has been changed to do a percentage of missing health instead of a flat amount, which is interesting. Powder keg, his new E, instead of raise morale, he now places a powder keg down, which can be attacked by Gangplank or by any enemies. If Gangplank destroys a keg, it will explode in an AoE blast that will slow and spread the damage of the attack to all nearby enemies. If there are other powder kegs nearby, they will cause a chain explosion. But if an enemy destroys any one of these single casks, it will diffuse the explosion and grant them gold.
So it's very interesting to see the synergy now with this new powder keg and his passive. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to kind of set up little nests like Teemo, and you're going to lure people in, and you're going to go in you're going to hit them, light off the powder keg, attack them again, and you're going to kind of use your AoE presence to kind of set up ganks.
Yeah, and they've tried to make Gangplank a little bit more than a one-trick pony with the
Q.
With the gameplay setup of his E, and his ultimate now has 3 modes that you can upgrade, and then upgrade them into each other, so you have all the modes put together. Now, Cannon Barrage works the same initially. It has the AoE, does magic damage, slows everyone in range, and every time you level it up, I believe, you can choose what type of upgrade you want for it. They haven't quite released the details on how you're going to get these upgrades. It might be every upgrade level. It might be something you have to purchase from the store like Victor. But the 3 upgrade levels that we understand so far is you can have Death's Daughter, which will fire an initial mega cannonball at the center of the AoE. You can have Raise Morale function, where it will give allies within the AoE bonus move speed. And Fire at Will increase the rate of fire over the duration of the cannon barrage, so it'll do more waves of damage in the AoE.
I believe Death's Daughter and Fire at Will be the 2 most common. I don't think many people will be using the movement speed for their allies, unless it is really prevalent where they really need that mobility. But I think that more damage and faster rate of fire is going to be the 2 popular.
Yeah, I mean, you can even use this as a defensive tool now. You drop it to slow and use the move speed to get away while they're stuck in the slow zone. I don't see this as a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what a lot of people are going to go for.
Sure, you'll tons of damage, etc.
Yeah. How do you feel about the new art style?
I don't like his new voice. I don't like his new model. I like his new gameplay.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing for me to say.
Yeah, that's actually... He's not anime. I'm happy. He's not anime. He's not a Yordle. He's not anime.
His previous Gangplank was kind of cartoony.
He was supposed to be
fun,
a parody.
He was animated. It was goofy, and I loved it. I mean, it's hard to argue with unintended camp, but new Gangplank's like, look how serious pirates are the real deal. Pirates are fun.
So I feel the same way. He feels a little too serious. He's lost his camp. He has his sleeves again. We lost those. His second visual update.
And a bottle of rum, too.
Yeah. His skins, depending on which skin you're looking at, they range from they look really good to look like, oh god. So Spectral Gangplank looks awesome. That will probably be my skin of choice. Patriot looks good. Commando looks good. The Sultan, hairy chest man. And then we have Sailor. Ahoy!
In the Navy, come on and help your fellow man.
In the Navy.
We can't do more than 10 seconds.
That was like 3 seconds. I want to sing more.
Whoops. I don't know. They're not going to offer a retro Gangplank skin like they did with other remakes, unfortunately. So you folks will just have to deal with that. As far as I understand, at least, they're not going to have a retro Gangplank with the old voice. That kind of sucks. So you just stuck with the new guy, but...
Hey, he's the announcer now, apparently.
So you can have all the new Gangplank you want. But we'll have to see how that changes. Seeing the kegs in practice, I think is awesome. I love the idea of creating a network of bombs, and you blow one up, and it deals damage with how much you blew it up to everyone around it, and then it chains to another thing, blows up for how much damage you did. So you can do super static shiv crit AoE damage!
Pew, 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 pew.
And people will die.
Yeah.
You literally make just it'll be like turbo Shaco boxes where you just stand next to me, like, walk into the bush, walk into the bush,
and powder keg.
And then they place a ward down and don't even go into it. And you're like, it's okay, it's fine, I can deal.
Okay.
I'll have my day.
Closest thing to techies we will ever have.
Exactly.
Which isn't a bad thing. And next up we have the Black Market Brawlers. This is the new game mode. They say it's a featured game mode, but with all the details they've thrown in this, I think this is going to stay for a while.
It seems a little more than a throwaway.
Right.
So it's Summoner's Rift, 5v5, blind pick. I'm sorry, blind draft, which means there'll be bans. But basically, playing the game, playing through, getting kills, leveling up, killing jungle creeps.
Enemy jungle creeps.
Killing
Dragon Baron.
points and all that jazz. Because coins, you can use those coins to recruit mercenary minions. These mercenary minions can be upgraded with your coins, and they turn into pushing fiends that devastate your foes.
So you have one that is a tanky siege. He gets reduced damage. He can deal additional damage to structures on level up, all the way up to currently 325% damage to enemy structures. Very silly. You have Razor Finn, which is a champion pursuer. It has 100% bonus attack speed. Upon leveling up, it will start just following enemy champions, and it won't stop.
It'll just tear them up as it can.
And then you have the Plunder Crab, my personal favorite. It's a champion harassment tool. It gets splash damage and is able to attack multiple targets, and it will apply minion buffs, all sorts of crazy stuff. Then there's Octopods, which is a support utility. It gets a cast of magic shield on ally minions every 10 seconds. It does all sorts of crazy things, depend leveling up. It even gives vision. And all of these will spawn each time a new wave pops up, from what it sounds like. But that hasn't been officially announced, but it sounds like each wave, something will appear.
And you can upgrade the minions with little individual things that'll give them more AD, that'll give them more
HP.
Specific abilities that are tailored to the characters, or more HP. And right alongside that are new items. These don't require any Kraken coins, but you can buy them right along the regular items. These are really wild, and we're not going to go into all these right now because they're still being tinkered with, but we can give you the rundown on some of the highlights. Certain items give you maximum attack speed and reduced damage. Other items give you permanent bonus AD for farming creeps. Blink items.
There's an item that teleports you 350 feet away from your target after you hit them, which is my personal favorite.
There are certain items with AP that let you stack up charges on them and then blow them up on enemy characters, or things that give you empower damage to structures.
There's some items that revolve around getting bonus movement speed in the water, in the river.
Some items let you teleport to a character and look like a friendly champion. Other items let you build up move speed and then ram into other characters for tons of damage.
One of them is literally like puppet strings, where when you mark them, they get stuck to the strings, and if they go before they've like 1,000 feet, you can pull them back like Blitzcrank.
Other items let you shield friends, and you get gold depending on how much damage they take while the shield is active.
And boot enhancement teleport.
This is a enhancement to an enhancement, and lets you use the item as basically a teleport to any friendly unit.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Additionally, certain enchantments and champions are getting tweaked within this mode and in Butcher's Bridge, so you can look forward to certain nerfs to certain characters.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I hope this is going to be a permanent game mode, because this is way too much from what it sounds like. Being able to control what comes out of your minion waves and having all these new weapons and stuff like that.
At least longer than a week.
Right. This has to be something more. Mm-hmm. Has to be.
And after the disappointments that was the Hallows Eve, what do they call it? What are they calling it now? Just the
harrowing.
The harrowing event was not very interesting. And some of the more recent temporary game modes haven't been blowing me away. I think this is a nice change.
But the detail on these new minions are phenomenal. The turtle is great.
They're definitely very League looking, which is good to capture the style.
There's a submarine seashell that follows people around and is like, hello. Hey guys.
Hello.
I'm your friend. I'm going to give you a shield now. Hi.
And of course, right along with this Bilgewater theme, there's a batch of skins that got released. We've got, of course, brand new skins for two characters that are being featured predominantly on a lot of the artwork. Is Graves and Fisted Tate.
Yeah, they're Cutthroat Graves and Cut Purse.
Cut Purse.
Okay.
It does say Cut Pus. I'm not gonna lie to you people. Our notes say Cut Pus, which is exciting.
Typos. But yeah, Cut Purse, Twisted Fate. The Graves one now.
They look unexciting, but they're inexpensive. The Graves one is fun. It's interesting. He's got a cannonball. He loads it up with little tiny bullets.
He opens it up and then just kind of puts
a
like
little tiny plinket in there and snaps it shut.
His ult looks fitting, but everything else is just like, and tiny shell.
The shell casing still eject. It's these little discs that fall out, and you're like, what is that coming from? And then the Twisted Fate skin, he looks like a background NPC in a Assassin's Creed game. It's terrible. I know they're gonna work on it some more. It looks terrible.
He still has the animations right now where he's tipping his hat and stuff, so he's just like grabbing air. He's like, hello, traveler. Oh, I don't have my hat.
He's fisting an imaginary mermaid.
Merman, Dad. Merman.
And so, right along with this, we said there were more skins, and there are. Got Sea Hunter Aatrox, Rogue Admiral Garen, and Corsair Quinn. Aatrox skin is really interesting. He's like a hammerhead shark. He's blue. I think it's too blue, to be honest. I wish it were more of a washed out blue. But it's unique for him, to be sure.
I like the shark theme to him.
I like it too. I just wish it was I wish the colors weren't as harsh.
Right.
Garen,
weird.
The VFX aren't that good on it, but it's very unique for him. Which makes me want to give it a shot. I just hope that they improve the VFX. And they give it a little bit more of a unique touch, especially on his ult. There are a lot of C options for crashing object.
And Quinn, it's a Quinn skin. They just kind of touched up her effects. I'm not sure what bird they're using. I didn't see anything yet.
It's a parrot.
It better be a parrot. It better be a parrot. So that's kind of interesting. They're all 750. Keep that in mind too. For 750, Garen's skin looks really good. The Graves one's just hilarious. And the Aatrox one for 750 ain't bad.
Exactly. The only one I wouldn't recommend of this batch for 750 is the Fisted Tate one.
Yeah. And Miss Fortune is getting a new skin along with this. It's Captain Fortune. and it has some small visual tweaks to it, but again, it's not finished, so it's
We'll
hard
keep
to
you
judge.
posted.
Right.
Now, of course, right after this event was announced, well, before, I should say,
During this time period.
we had a patch, patch 5.13, and we're going to go over that very, very quickly. First things first, they wanted to clean up the death cap, so they fixed a bunch of bugs where certain abilities would display the wrong amount of damage, or it would show a bunch of it when there wasn't really a lot, which is helpful. Line skill shots are being tinkered with again, so watch out for that. Slow stacking. Now here's the big one. What they've done is instead of slows beyond the first applying at half value, only the strongest slow. All the buffs will stay, but only the strongest will stick on the target, which is a huge nerf.
So you can't kind of layer slows depending on characters. Like you'd put Zillions, which would be 99%, and then add another character that'd do another like 3% on top of that, and they would just kind of layer upon layer. The highest one will always be priority. So some characters have like lighter slows, can't team up with someone with a harder slow, and they can kind of continuously use those, which is a bummer, but it's understandable because slowed to death is really awful.
Well, they're very anti-CC in League of Legends, and so they put in all these buffs to like reduce the effect of slows, reduce their duration, reduce their intensity, ways to remove them, ways to just completely circumvent them with dashes, and to completely remove slow play, I think is a bad thing. But on the flip side, older characters that only have a movement speed gap closer, such as Olaf, Garen, some of the other top laners, because they aren't going to be slowed as much, other characters with super dashes and jumps around aren't going to be as good in comparison.
Right.
So a Garen who can only get slowed probably up to 60% versus like 75 is not completely terrible.
No, they kind of
But
are showing.
On the flip side, all the slow reduction talents probably going to get taken out now, which is something I don't think that they're planning on, and it's going to really start to show in their game balance.
Yeah, but gameplay statistics and seeing what is going to become dominant in the next few months of gameplay because of this chain is going to be key.
Runeglaive and hard CC, boys.
Ooh, baby. Jace, he has a change to Mercury Cannon / Hammer. They fixed a bug that gave Jace his R bonuses at 5, 10, and 15 instead of 6, 11, and 16.
Minor bugs.
Yeah, but it's still that sneaky damage that no one knew about.
Callistier, after her nerf, they have decided to tinker around with her.
And nerf her some more.
She gets less of a total attack damage ratio.
Her base damage goes up, and her attack damage growth stat is also going up. But Pierce can no longer be cast mid-dash.
Which is good.
Yes, so it made it like very hard to get a hold of her because she just would dash and use her Pierce at the same time.
Exactly, and she never had to stop to use abilities.
Right.
Kale, that's a one for you.
Yay, Kale! Passively, Kale's Righteous Fury basic attacks deal 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, plus 15 ability power magic damage on hit, and the ability power ratio is now up to 0.3.
So essentially you get half of the active effect's damage on your melee attacks, and then when you activate it, it basically doubles and is ranged.
So as soon as Righteous Fury wears off, you're not like retreating. It's like, I can't deal damage. You can go in there and you can still beat them across the head.
Which is really good for DPS Kale.
Yep.
Kennen, a couple of bug fixes for him. It's going to make his life a little bit easier. Basically cleaning up the tooltips and making it so when you're using Electrical Surge, Marks of the Storm from your ult can now apply it with a little bit more frequency because it doesn't double count them as your ult going off, and it was just a pain.
Nautilus got a huge nerf to his Riptide. The damage at higher levels went down, and the max damage went down as well. So it's capped at
Rip in peace, Riptide?
Rip. Well, everybody is using AP Nautilus support in the LCS right now, and it's become so strong that it's been carrying over to me as a support, so I'm doing this as well, and it's very noticeable. I've been able to solo bot lanes with AP Nautilus, so I'm kind of happy to see this, but also at the same time, you're
going to scare out all the bads.
These nerfs are just going to weigh me down.
Rek'Sai's knockup radius has been reduced to be a little bit more on spot with hitting with Unburrow. good old Singed base magic resistance got increased, and he now gains magic resist per level. What a saint, giving all those melee characters magic resist per level like they deserve. His fling now roots for 2 seconds at max rank, and he now laughs whenever he flings an enemy.
This is the best change
This is
ever.
a huge buff to Singed.
Now we don't have to laugh constantly. It does it for us.
I have it bound to my mouse so I can laugh whenever I get to my character.
Yeah.
And I play so much Trundle and Blitzcrank, I'm required to laugh. Now, Syndra got tinkered with. Syndra's a character that struggles a lot.
Please fix
A
me.
lot. She struggles a lot. And so they've done something to help her a little bit. So the Dark Spheres, scattered with her E ability, will now stop in front of Wind Wall and Unbreakable instead of being destroyed. Additionally, a lot of these bugs involving the knockback and stun have been tinkered with, so they actually knock back and stun. And the Dark Spheres sometimes would get knocked back while they were mid-travel of her ult, which means that they wouldn't get added to the ult's damage. That has been fixed. And units that are stunned by Dark Spheres are no longer get knocked back, which is kind of a bad thing. But you got to take the good with the bad. Unleashed Power. The spheres intercepted by the wall of both Braum and Yasuo will now bounce off instead of being destroyed, which is a buff to her, but it's not that good of a buff.
Right. It makes sense that they don't
The
get
biggest thing to
destroyed.
take from this is Scout of the Week will actually stun targets when it's supposed to stun targets, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Thresh, Domination, Souls would sometimes appear to fly to targets, especially Thresh, even when he was at a really long difference. And that was kind of weird, but they fixed that. Scuttle Crab will spawn a soul now, which is neat.
It was not a soulless creature before, which was very scary.
Crabs have souls!
There's just like 4 people with picket fence, etc. Right? Crabs have souls. Crabs have souls.
Here's an amazing buff for Vygar. His ultimate now scales the missile size to his ability power.
Oh no!
Which I want to see a video where someone farms AP on him for like 7 hours. And then the whole screen just turns blue for a second because it blots out the sun and then disappears.
And then there's just a dead body of just whoever.
That's right.
I bet there's a cap on the size
There
of it.
better not be. Shh. Battlecry on his W went down because 0.7 on a heal you can get off every 3 seconds is really high, especially when you can go a full Lichbane build on him and still do competitive damage.
Oh, you mean Zinyaw? I thought you still meant Vagar for a second.
No.
When did Vagar get a battle cry?
Well, you know, he's short. He can scream.
It just, here comes the ult.
Boom! Zillion's Rewind can no longer be cast when both Time Bomb and E, his ultimate's Time Warp, are off of cooldown. It's a big nerf, to be honest.
Well,
so you now actually have to cast the spells rather than just trying to cycle through your ult as fast as you can. Kind of weird.
It kind of is like idiot protection where people
You're supposed to E.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just E forever.
So another interesting thing is Pulsefire Ezreal. A lot of people have said that it felt more sluggish than the original skin, and a lot of people have actually stopped playing with it. They've done some tweaks and some behind-the-scene framework to improve his responsiveness. So quality of life changes for those who actually have paid for the skin and could be able to use it. Because I've noticed a lot of people used to use Pulsefire Ezreal, and people have switched away from it. Some pro players are now using other skins as well.
And the thing is, you used to use Pulsefire Ezreal because it was more responsive.
Right.
Additionally, this patch, Devour, the enchantment for the jungle item, has been changed. Now, this is interesting. Devour was used by like 4 characters, and they have nerfed it because it is extremely strong on those 4 characters. But they've wanted to make it more useful. But they've also wanted to put a cap on it, so it's not quite as strong. Initially, it did 25 damage every auto attack, granted you a flat amount of attack speed. Every time you kill a large creep rather, an epic monster, or kill the champion, you'd get 1 to 2 stacks, and it would add to this permanently, and it'd be pretty crazy. Now, the interesting thing about this was it stacked infinitely, so you could get, you'd start towards the later end of the game, You'd have like 150 bonus magic damage on auto attack, and it was really wild, and it would just keep going.
Right.
Now what they've done is they've made it so you get more stacks on epic monster kills, such as Dragon and Baron, more stacks on Rift Scuttler skills, which is the little crabs in the middle, less stacks on champion kills, and
takedowns or assists now count per stack instead of just kills.
which are pretty good. And that includes on monsters and epic monsters.
Correct.
Now, the crazy thing here is once you hit 30 stacks, so once you start with 30, and then once you get up to the 60 magic damage, you get a dog that comes with you. And then the dog will merge with you once you hit, you get the dog when you get your first stack. Once you hit 30, the dog will merge with you.
What is that? Does the dog do anything or does it just follow you?
The dog merges with you. And the magic damage goes back to, it's either 30 or 60, but instead of stacking up, it has this cool thing where every other basic attack will trigger your on-hit effects twice, which is insanity.
Hey, Double Sheen. Hey, Double Frozen Mallet. Hey, here comes all my abilities.
Well, imagine Master Yi. You time it right, so that way your Wuju style double attack goes off twice. So you hit 4 times.
And you have a wolf spirit inside of you.
There's a dog on me.
Can someone explain more what this dog does? Because it doesn't say anything. It just kind of like, I'm inside of you.
Unfortunately, some pro players were tinkering around with Runeglaive Smite Ezreal mid, and this has made them have to tinker with Runeglaive. But they've actually gone ahead and just buffed it.
Which is funny, because usually...
weird. But you know what? Whatever. It's fine. They increased the amount of ability power you get on it. The Spellblade ratio for physical damage has gone to 1.0, and it fixed a bug where it was applying spell effects. So it no longer counts as a spell, so you can't do Luden's Echo like Ezreal was doing. You can't do Lysandre's Torment, Crystal Scepter, all that jazz. So this is good for my Blitz Jungle build, which might be featured in this video, which is going to be even more effective. But yeah, 1-to-1 AD ratio in an AoE. It's really hard to argue with that.
Right. So Righteous Glory got nerfed again. The health went down to 500. The cooldown went up to 90. Boo-earns.
Well, Righteous Glory was ridiculous anyway.
Boo-earns. Spirit Visage. The healing bonus went up to 20% on all healing.
Which is insanity.
So it's not only healing things that like heal you, but all sorts of healing to enemies or to allies.
Incoming healing is increased by 20%.
I thought it was like, it says all healing.
So before it was like regeneration, spell vamp, health steal.
Now it's
like, here's a heal from Soraka. And you're like, thanks, fam.
And then she's like, I'm going to nuke you. Oh, look at the extra
They
health.
need to do that on Trundle's Frozen Zone now if they're going to do that. But that's just me. Ability power itemization has also changed this patch. Blasting 1 is 10 gold cheaper. Needlessly large rod. Ability power has gone down by 20 points. But it is also 350 gold cheaper. Rabidon's Death Cap is 200 gold more expensive. It now builds out of Needlessly Large, Blasting 1, and Amp Tome plus 935. The ability power ratio is 120 still, but the ability power bonus is 35%.
Hey, that can go towards Vagar's ult.
Indeed. Zunya's Hourglass went down by 300 gold. Ability power ratio dropped by 20, though. Oof. Luden's Echo dropped by 300 gold. The ability power ratio dropped down by 100, or by 20, and the movement speed bonus is a flat 10%, which is very good. Rylai's Crystal Scepter went up by 100 gold. The ability power ratio is unchanged. The health is unchanged. However, it now builds out of a Giant's Belt and Needlessly Large in an Amp Tome, plus 715. The single target slow went up by 5% to 40%. Area of effect slows are now 40%.
Whoa. Oh, God.
Which, this has a lot to do with the slow change that they did this patch.
But still, that is nuts.
Now, the damage over time slow is now 20% for 1 second instead of 15% for 1.5 seconds. This is a pretty big change.
There's
and
also...
finally,
yeah.
summon minions from Mordekaiser's ults, Annie's R, other minions.
I'm
now
guessing
slow for
Azir?
20% for 1 second on auto attacks.
That's really annoying.
And it has a new particle effect instead of just ice.
Ice.
Archangel's staff is pretty neat now. They've changed the total cost to 3,000 gold. It builds out of the Tear of the Goddess and a needlessly large, and the total ability power that you get from the item flat before mana is 80, which is really, really good. Seraph's Embrace, ability power, 80. Really, really good. Rod of Ages lost 100 gold off its purchasing cost. The base health went down by 300, which is terrible. Base mana went down by 400, which is terrible. But now you gain 40 mana every minute instead of 20 mana per minute. So you essentially just got double the value of mana from Rod of Ages. And the ability power ratio, you now get 4 per minute. So now you get 40 ability power after 10 minutes instead of 20. This is insanity. They are buffing mana across the board, and I love it.
Yeah, but this used to be a sustain like this was the item to get for
this was a tank mage item. Yes, and they have reduced the health on it, which is very bad. But on the flip side, it was sort of a catch-all. This is my health and my damage and my mana item, and making it just a kind of health, lots of mana, lots of damage. I'm totally fine with that. If you want health, there are other items for that, but there were no other items for good mana and good health and good mana. Ability power, and that's a good change.
Hunting guys, the gold was increased to 1,500 just because they're trying to clean up numbers and round everything out. Leandri's Torment went to 3,000 gold. Now builds
100 extra gold for an additional 30 ability power. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and it builds out of Hunting Guys and Blasting Wand and 650 gold now. Void Staff, the gold went to 2,500. 10 more ability power, awesome. Gnasher's Tooth, 3,000 gold, 40% attack speed instead of 50, but 20 more ability power.
It's going to be great for Kale.
Yep. Will of the Ancients has a new ability called True Blood. Your abilities heal you for 50% of damage dealt, calculated before your opponent's resistances, and a 33% effect for AoE. Problem is, there is no more spell vamp on this item.
Which is weird, but so it goes.
And Morellonomicon, they have changed the recipe for a Phoenix Codex, Forbidden Idol, Amplifying Tome, and 445 gold. Cost is still the same. And Athene's Holy Grail, cost is not changed. Phoenix Codex, Chalice of Harmony, Amplifying Tome, and 545 gold.
They're basically making these items so there's less dead gold. You just have to wait to get the purchasing cost. There's more intermediate items you can get to make it more fun.
But that's really it. We got particle effect changes for some characters. We have the new chroma skins. We have a lot of new pro player icons coming out, as well as they've added a random icon and a random ward skin chest. You can get those for, I believe, like 190 RP. I got one. They're all right. They're not the same as getting random skins, but if you're looking
that's the tooth.
If you were looking for the icons or skins from previous events that you can't get anymore, I got the arcade skin one, which I don't think you can get anymore, but I think you can. But I think you can't, but I'm not sure. Anyways, that's a thing.
But that's really it, guys. We're really, really, really pushing our time limit on this episode. We had a lot to cover. So we're going to glaze over questions this week. We normally do questions. We love questions. We're going to do at least 2 every week if we have the time. This week we do not. But if you would like a question asked about us, about the show, about Spastic Gaming, about video games, about upcoming projects, which we do have some, about anything really, we love to answer them. And if we have time, we definitely will. And we really need those from you guys. It really helps round out our community angle. So if you have one about anything, literally anything, you can post it in the comment section below. You can send it to our email at spasticgaming@gmail.com. Or post it on our Facebook, Twitter, or website, all of which are linked in the information down below. We have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/spasticgaming. You can go there and you can get all kinds of cool stuff, community content, features, your name on a thing, and a gaff, and it's fun. If you have the money and you like your content, go give it a look. It'll be worth a percentage of the pennies.
Just a percentage. This has been Water Elemental.
This is Axis, and I am going to go get some more gear so I can keep doing the things that I like to do. which is eat your brains.
What?